Good evening and welcome to the Peoria Police Department Kalia public hearing. I've got a formal statement that I'm required to read prior to the holding of this hearing, if you can bear with me. My name is Major Michael O'Brien. I'm from the Harris County Sheriff's Office in Houston, Texas, and currently the leader of this team assessing the Peoria Police Department. I'd like to introduce the other member of my team is Deputy Chief Michael Rivas of the Wooddale, Illinois Police Department. The Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies of Gainesville, Virginia has authorized us to assess the Peoria Police Department, which is a candidate for reaccreditation. The Peoria Police Department has voluntarily contracted with the Commission to work towards accreditation and thereby continue to demonstrate professional excellence. When it was originally entering into the process, it received the Commission Standards Manual, which currently contains 484 standards encompassing all facets of law enforcement accreditation, including management, operations, and support functions. The Commission originally accredited this agency in 1997 after determining it demonstrated its compliance with all applicable standards. The agency's proof of compliance are on file with the Peoria Police Department, 8551 West Cinnabar Avenue, Peoria, Arizona. Since then, the agency has attempted to maintain those standards, and our responsibility here is to revisit the agency and ensure that they've remained in compliance since it was last accredited in year 2015. Roy Minter Jr., the Chief of Police of the Peoria Police Department, has appointed Ms. Sharon Robertson as the accreditation manager to oversee this process. This public hearing is intended to provide interested citizens or employees of the agency an opportunity to address this assessment team concerning the agency. Any comments you make will be considered by us during our review, and we will report this information back to the Commission. If you wish to supplement any of your verbal comments with a written statement or exhibits, you may present them to the team after you speak. You may also submit any written remarks to the Commission at the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, 13575 Heathcote Boulevard, Suite 320, Gainesville, Virginia. At the beginning or prior to entry, there was a sign-up sheet. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak that hasn't signed up on the sign-up sheet? Okay, so that's taken care of. We'd like to remind you that this meeting is going to be recorded, and so before we start, does anyone have any questions? All right, then we'll call you our first speaker. When we call your name, if you'd come up to the podium to address Ms. Nancy Royals. And if I mispronounce your name, please correct me when you come up to the podium.
I just wanted to say that as a resident of Peoria and having lived in 4 states, in many cities in my life, the Peoria Police Department is the best I've ever seen anywhere.
Thank you for your time.
Major O'Brien, I have one addition.
Okay, outstanding. Mr. Jerry Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity and welcome to warm Arizona. The Texas, I would assume that is about this warm, but I don't know about that other state. So thank you. I do have written comments, and if you don't mind, I will read that to you. I'm representing Westbrook Village Homeowners Association General Manager Karen Jones. She couldn't be here tonight to make her comments. She apologized and she asked if I would fill in for her. I'm Jerry Johnson, immediate past president of the Westbrook Village Homeowners Association. We're a community of 3,910 homes in Peoria, North Peoria. I've served on many committees with Westbrook, and I'm also a past commander of the Sheriff's Posse of Westbrook Village, serving the Sheriff's Office, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office in Westbrook Village for over 8 years. And I've lived in Peoria for going on 18 years. Having served in this capacity for several years, I've had the privilege working with the Peoria Police Department in many ways. The representation and relationship of the public safety with regards to Westbrook Village is nothing short of the word awesome. And the kids use that word. I don't use that word, but I thought it was a great word to use. So I looked it up in the meaning. Awesome means like overwhelming, splendid, tremendous, remarkable, amazing, humbling, and astounding. And not to mention the guidance, mentoring, and partnership, and always ready to serve our community. And that obviously is regards to the Peoria Police Department. When we call for service, they're there in a timely manner, and we have meetings, they're always there. When we have monthly posse meetings, they're there as well, representing the police department. And that working relationship is very, very close. They are seen in our community patrolling our streets on a regular basis, even though our posse regularly patrols our community every day and night. We know there are more important places to be other than Westbrook for our officers, but there's always an attitude of, we're here checking on you, and we appreciate that so much. So I take this opportunity to thank each officer publicly and thank the chief for his staff for paying attention to us in our community, and it is much appreciated. We couldn't be more pleased with what we have with the Peoria Police Department and our relationship. So thanks again for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Richard Bradshaw.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of Chief Rick St. John from the Glendale Police Department. Glendale Police Department, the city of Glendale and the city of Peoria border each other for a little over 20 miles. From the south end of Peoria, we share an east-west border. It'd be the west border for us, east border for Peoria, going all the way up north. I'd like to, excuse me, I'd like to share information on the joint relationship that we have with them almost on a weekly basis. There's shared monthly crime, meaning information that's shared between the two police departments from the investigations level. We've worked joint community events together, homeless coordination events. We share a couple of washes that come through where we've done joint events, checking on the homeless community through there, making sure that they're aware of resources that are available to them. We share joint SWAT training. There are times where both SWAT teams have covered for both cities. If one of our teams is not available, it's an easy phone call for us to make over to the city of Peoria, and we feel more than comfortable that they're capable of handling any situation in our city. We have an excellent relationship with them just on the day-to-day patrol information, where information is shared very quickly. If we have a crime that's committed close to the border, there's been several times over the course of just this past year where information shared either way, where the other agency was actually able to pick up a suspect vehicle or suspects and make that initial arrest and then share that information. Both agencies are part of the West Valley Chiefs Coalition. I know that'll be talked about a little more. Second in command, the West Valley Commanders Association. We share our holiday plans with each other. The area of 83rd Avenue and Bell Road is a very vital entertainment district for the city of Peoria. We have our Arrowhead Town Mall up there, so that information is shared with each other. And then more importantly, in this day and age, shared information on school resource information is shared back and forth with both police departments, as we share a common school district with each other, which is Peoria Unified School District. With that, if you guys have any questions for me, I'd be glad to answer them. If not, I will move out of the way.
Just so I have it on my records correctly, what is your rank, sir?
I'm a commander with the Glendale Police Department.
Commander. Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
Terry Young.
Good evening. So as you called me up, my name is Terry Young. I'm the police chief for the city of Surprise. We're a neighboring community also. just northwest of here, a population of about 130,000 people. I think what you're going to hear a lot of this evening, as you've heard some already and from the neighboring agencies, the theme is going to be about cooperation. But I want to share just a little bit about my perspective. I've been in law enforcement here in the Valley for 28 years, primarily with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and I moved to the city of Surprise about 8 years ago. And I think one of the unique aspects about law enforcement here in the Valley, and certainly is shared in other communities as well, but one of our strengths is the relationship that we share with one another, local agencies, state agencies, federal agencies, and then the relationship, of course, that we have with our communities. But working with the Peoria Police Department and Chief Minter, sharing communication, sharing resources, collaborating on efforts, that partnership allows us to serve our communities exponentially better than we could operating on our own. And so Chief Minter ingrains himself in those processes, ensures his staff is ingrained in those processes. He has served most recently as the president of our West Valley Chiefs Association, just turning the reins over this past year in January. He serves as the second vice president on the Arizona Association of Chiefs of Police, and I serve on that board with him. So we have an opportunity to collaborate a lot. And just to share, I think, sort of the foundation of who the Peoria Police Department is, and the expression, again, that you've heard here about how ingrained they are in their community. He invited us late last year to one of their their annual community appreciation meetings. So I'm sitting in a room full of community members from around Surprise, business owners, residents, and just listening. And one of the key statements I heard out of Chief Minter's earshot, just in communication amongst these tables, was that the Peoria Police Department is everywhere. Any event, any activity, any community function, anything that's going on, they are a part of that. They go beyond just working with their community. They are ingrained and a part of the community. And so, as the chief of an agency that's been accredited since 2007, I can tell you without hesitation, Peoria Police is a department that exemplifies what an accredited agency should be. And so I'm here today to just offer my support for their reaccreditation. Any questions for me? I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Okay. Just making notes. Eva, is it Osuna? Yes. All right.
Probably pull this down a little bit. I also have a short written summary here.
No problem.
Thank you for the opportunity to express my opinions about the police department. My name is Eva Osuna. I've been here all my life. Been a resident for 61 years. I was here when we had one policeman, and so I've seen the city grow, and I've seen the department grow as well, the police department. We have 5 generations of Osunas here in this town. I'm very familiar with the services the police department provides and have worked on several City of Peoria committees that have included working with police personnel on policing issues. I'm proud of the police department and the services they provide to make me feel safe in my community. There are several police programs that provide invaluable services to our community, and all of them make for a strong police department. In 2001, I was given the opportunity to attend interviews for potential chiefs of police, and in that process, I met Chief Roy Minter. He offered me, and he often offers his personal cell phone number to citizens, and he makes himself available to the community. I've reached out to the chief after hours and on weekends, and he has always been responsive, engaging, and professional. On one occasion, there was an emergency. It was a dangerous situation with a person that was loose, and it was in my community, and the entire community was roped off with the police tape, and there was several of the nearby police departments as well. And I picked up the phone, I called the chief, I said, is it okay to go into my community and go into my home? And he said, absolutely, everything's under control, don't worry about it, you're safe to go home. To say the least, I was very afraid to go in there, and so that really helps when an officer can engage with the citizens and make us feel that way. I'm sharing this with my network of neighbors, and so it makes the whole community feel safe. This type of responsiveness that I have experienced with the chief has been consistent, and my interactions with police officers in his department have been very positive. There is true engagement between the community and the police department. And like they said before, I attend many meetings in the city of Peoria, and everywhere you go, there's police representation. And I'm very proud of this department. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Melissa Parsons Nastancia?
Well, good morning, good evening. I feel like it should be morning. I'm Melissa Parsons. I am the Assistant Community Manager up at Vistancia, about a 7,000-acre community master plan community in the northwest part of Peoria. We have a lot of wonderful things to say about Peoria PD. Several words that I would use to describe them are collaboration, service-oriented, and accessibility. And they are definitely willing to collaborate anytime we have needed anything up there for an event or to come out and meet and greet. They bend over backwards to make it happen. Their heart is true service, from Chief Mentor to Commander Bizayo, and before Commander Bizayo, Commander Walls. They give of themselves. They expect their officers to do the same, and it has made an impact in that community. And last of all, they're just accessible. Any time that we need them, just like the Westbrook Village, they're there for meetings, they're there for breakfasts. They're there to meet and greet people without having to give tickets. They become enmeshed in the community. One officer in particular, Officer Williams, he's kind of a superstar in the community. He makes himself available to people. He comes alongside them. It's like police work should be. He becomes a part of their life so that they feel safe to go to him if they ever needed anything, and I commend that. That comes from the top down. There's a couple stories that I have about just the heart and the passion of Peoria PD. I do programming and events up there, and one of the events that I was doing was working with a local church who did an outreach for an impoverished community up in West Peoria, which is actually really uncommon, but this little community was kind of isolated to a point where there were hundreds of $1,000 homes all around them, and this little trailer park kind of just sat in this section and a little bit forgotten. Their interaction with police, Peoria PD, was that they would have to go in there and do drug raids, or that they would have to enforce the law. And so the children that I was working with this church had only seen that side of Peoria PD. So I reached out to them and I was like, that's not what they're about. That is obviously a part of the function of what they do, but there is so much more to them. So I asked the Peoria PD, Lisa Maddox, Commander Bizayo, would you guys be willing to come out to a service project we're doing with them? Let's change the tide. Let's give a different perspective of what I know that you guys are. And they did. They came out full force. And the perspective of each of those kids that were involved was dramatically changed for the rest of their life, I hope. Another story, which is more personal, is that I was rushing home one day right outside Vistancia, and it is like a thoroughfare. And they like to sit there. That's obviously where they need to ticket people. And I had a sick kid at home, and I was probably going faster than I should. And one of the officers pulled me over. And so I'm like, oh, how embarrassing. But he came alongside me and he goes, why are you in such a rush? And I said, you know what, I have a sick kid at home. And he's like, hold on a minute. And he just went back to his car. He probably ran my plates. But he came back to me and he goes, Melissa, Miss Parsons, please just get home safe. Go take care of your sick kid. To me, that showed the humanity of not only the police department, but of the people that they hire. And again, that goes from the top down. So we are huge fans. We appreciate the hard work and the dedication they give to our community and to our residents. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Chief Larry Hall?
Good evening, Larry Hall, I'm Police Chief for the City of Buckeye. Buckeye is a city of about 70,000 residents, sitting on about 650 square miles, about 20 miles, 15, 20 miles southwest of here. You know, Peoria is a solid agency, and I'll tell you why. Arizona has 160 state, county, local, and tribal agencies. Only 13 of them are accredited. Peoria's been accredited for a while now. We have 14,664 officers in our state as well. Now, I've known a lot of their staff. As a matter of fact, I was fortunate enough to acquire one of their assistant or deputy chiefs from Peoria that Chief Minter reminds me of every time I see him. Thanks me for that. He doesn't thank me for it. And we were lucky I was lucky to have that. As a new chief, I was able to bring in an experienced deputy chief that brought community engagement programs that Peoria had already had in place, Lunch with Blue, Coffee with the Cop, and just a ton of them. We were involved in the Rotary now. And their connection with their community is extremely strong, because our connection that we had at that time, we were, seemed like we were, operating in a vacuum. And we implemented a lot of these programs. And as you know, we need to build those bridges with our community before the storm comes. You know, building them later doesn't work. And bringing a lot of those programs made us a better agency. Now, and those are programs that were already in place. Now, the collaboration we've had with the city of Peoria and their officers and their department has been phenomenal as well. We work with them with the DUI task force. Our SWAT teams work together on the Urban Area Security Initiative. And as we know, crime knows no borders. We have multiple investigations, criminal investigations, that we do jointly with them, and as well as the neighboring cities like Glendale. Now, under the leadership of Chief Minter and his staff, they've achieved and continue to achieve to less than 10% of what all Arizonas have, which is the CALIA accreditation. So I think that's a testament to their agency. Chief Minter also serves with the West Valley Chiefs Association as our president, and he's pretty informative when he comes to our chief meetings and tells us, shares what's going on nationally and how those trends are going to affect our agencies nationally, similar to what Chief Young spoke about. My accreditation manager couldn't be here tonight. He really wanted to be here tonight, but he wanted me to extend on a personal thanks and commendation towards Sharon Robertson, who's their accreditation manager. She's been very instrumental in helping him and the Arizona PAC in sharing information and creating better processes and policies. So Peoria's an exceptional agency. It's got exceptional people. Every time I personally come across Peoria officers, it's always a great conversation, professional conversation, fun conversation, and on the human side of it and the personal side of it, just some solid people working there, and I extend my deepest appreciation for that agency. So thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for taking time to come.
Thank you, sir.
I'm not sure if I'm reading it probably. Team Mephavis?
Well, good evening. My name is Will Roberts. I'm a teacher at Peoria High School. I'm also the founder of a nonprofit organization called Team Emphasis. It started in 2004, actually, and getting the support from the Peoria Police Department has been instrumental in our development, led by Chief Minter, who comes to talk to our team about teamwork, goal setting, weathering storms and obstacles, and using his life experiences to tell our guys that they could be more than just a basketball player. It's been huge. I deal with a lot of at-risk youth in African-American community, but all, not just the African-American community, all different types of races and stuff. He's been very instrumental, and the entire police department has been instrumental, from coming to games and being personable. I'm looking at my notes right now, coming to games, being personable, helping kids to believe that they can fix their resume to get hired and ultimately become a police officer. actually being our keynote speaker at our Jobs for Arizona's Graduates initiation ceremony, doing leadership breakouts, and just, being authentic and all over the place. It's one thing to, show your face, but it's another thing when people can feel the professionalism and the realness of you are really there in support and at the same time professional enough to do your job. And I'm in full support of the entire Peoria Police Department, and I'm fortunate to be a member of this community who supports everything that I do and all of the youth that I serve. Thank you.
Thanks for taking the
Thank you,
time to
sir.
come in. Robert Sanders? He just left, okay. All right. All right, oh, boy.
Is it Raphael? Yes. How do you say the last name?
I know that you have a hard time reading my handwriting. I have rheumatism.
Well, come on up and have a talk.
My name is Rafaelita Evangelista. Good day, gentlemen.
Good day.
I just want to make sure that I'm here, that what I'm saying is within the realm of Kalea. Because this is my first time to know that there is such thing as Kalea. So I'm glad that we have that, and I'm also proud, and I smiled when I found out that Peoria Police Department is accredited and will be re-accredited, and I think they will be re-accredited, because I haven't had any experience, or there is no situation whatever about excessive force by police department in this city. I would like to know if what I'm concerned about excessive force of police department, which is not happening in this city. I would like to know how many, as I understood, there are 19,000 cities in the United States, and how many are accredited by Kalea?
I'm sorry, but I don't have those numbers to give you.
Oh, okay. Because my concern as an ordinary citizen is that whenever there is an excessive force of policemen, the ordinary people like us are also involved in a sense that whenever the victims were whenever the victims were not considered guilty, and instead the policemen were the ones who made a boo-boo. I always hear, and I don't mind if they get compensation for what happened to the victims, but as a citizen, the money involved is like millions for every victim, and our taxes as ordinary citizens are also involved, right? So I'm just asking if there is a guideline coming from you about excessive force. We don't want the policemen to die, and we don't also want the suspects dying and getting us citizens to get involved too because of the taxes that we pay, that will be paid for indemnity. So are there guidelines about this? Or do we need to find out how it is done and how we can prevent the riots and the, what do you call that? Lives matters, is that? So that's my concern. And do we have that in your guidelines?
So do we have what?
the guidelines for, so that excessive force will not happen, or? if
Yes,
ev-
guidelines are provided on use of force issues.
So, I don't know why it's happening still. There's a lot coming. There are riots every here and there. Not here in Peoria, but, so, I'm here because of that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. I actually don't have the numbers off the top of my head on how many are accredited, but what I do believe is only agencies that really want to go above the status quo to try and do the right thing by their communities become CLIA accredited. But it's not only having good guidelines and working tools, it comes with excellent leadership and community support. And just like you coming here to speak today, I appreciate you coming here to try and support the agency.
Yeah, I feel sad when things happen like this. It's like somebody could do something about it, really, really, because it's a waste of lives, you know. So that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other members of the audience that wish to speak? Oh, we do have. Okay. Gina Villanueva? Is it Gina Villanueva?
Valenzuela.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it seems like everyone here wants to see the agency reaccredited, so I will tell you that, and I speak, I think, for both of us, that we've been really impressed with the Peoria Police Department, the leadership, the command staff, and the line officers. It's a great agency, and you should be proud of them, and they should be proud of the support that the community gives them. That the people we've spoken to throughout the community have nothing but praise for the agency. And with that, thank you for coming tonight and sharing your thoughts and your support, and may you have a good evening.
Thank you.